speaking to one of the journalists, Roya Haidari, and she's in France, and she's a storyteller and photojournalist, and she was telling me if there was ways she would love to go back and work, but at the same time, there are some success stories into her and others who have been offered other work on the spot and to work with many other medias. But we're talking about thousands of other Afghans who have been in Doha, or Abu Dhabi, and then they made it to final destinations like, United Kingdom or United States. They're still are being in processing camps, refugee camps. They haven't been settled yet, so it's too early to, in terms of jobs and employments. But you're hoping to, start a new journey, new home, new work.
And as you mentioned, some of the lucky ones have been offered some work on the spot. But do we know what sort of relocation programs or work opportunities await them in the different regions, say Doha, Europe, the US, etc.?
Well, it differs. Like in Europe, those with with, I would say, RT and arts and a lot of experience, I think it's a better place for activists, and even in the United States. So I think it's a combination of all different jobs we're looking at, based who has the skills, who doesn't have skills, who has knowledge, who speaks English. We're talking about thousands of these people who cannot even speak English, who just got into the airplane and landed in Washington, D.C. So it depends. But I think the benefits the government are offering are insanely really good for them. Giving them settle them in communities, giving them Medicaid, giving them health insurance, food stamps, I mean, all kind of social welfare. I think that is going to determine they're short. But going forward, it depends on what skills they have. Do they speak English? And if not, what are job employments the communities or the social services are going to offer?
So are certain professions, you mentioned speaking English as being one of the attractive things, are there certain professions perhaps that are more attractive to some of these host countries than others?
Yes, I mean, speaking, for example, if you're a tailor in Afghanistan, being a tailor, if you come to the United States, you can easily find jobs. If you have some technical background, for example, if you're good in mechanics and cars, you could find jobs. I'm not saying easily, but it's more. So I think having something technical skill than having a degree in international affairs or law. I know a lot of people who came that they have degrees in international and law. So you can be a lawyer in Afghanistan, but in the United States, for example, or UK, or if you go to other countries, it's really hard because each country has their own kind of studies. You have to study for 10 years to become a lawyer in the United States, for example, even longer. So those may take longer and lasting. But I have advised a lot of refugees that they need to practice their English and they need to start, Googling and YouTubing a lot of stuff that they could self-teach themselves. Also, in the United States, we have free English classes for families. So I think that will also help them understand, gain the new language. Because a lot of these companies, we're talking about private companies built the entire, we are talking about private companies running the United States and other countries mainly. So they want to have workers that could benefit the company and benefit them. So it's more about what you can bring to the company.
Indeed. So then, in terms of what happens at home then, what will these departures mean for Afghanistan, say, day-to-day operations from schools and hospitals to businesses and agriculture with this brain drain?
Well, it's going to significantly, and negatively impact the overall structure of the Afghan government, or I would say at the moment we didn't have, there is no government, the country. We're talking about the elite has left Afghanistan. Some are stuck. They're also seeking ways to get out. So we're talking about healthcare. We're talking about education. We're talking about armed and defense. All of them, they lack technical experts and SMEs that they have left the country. The past 20 years, the international community have spent, billions of dollars to invest on this human capital. I think the loss of human capital is going to have a longer impact in Afghanistan. Even though the Taliban are taking over, but we are talking about severe shortages of these people. Like, for example, you didn't have specialists in doctors in hospitals across the province of Afghanistan. Most of them has left. You didn't have enough tools and equipment. So I think this is going to impact. One other thing, which is really, really important, is there is a humanitarian crisis, and the prices of goods have been elevated. The borders are closed. The poverty rate, the level was 60 based on the World Bank. Now it's more than that. So I think in addition to these skilled workers, we're talking about a humanitarian crisis, and it's time for international community, the UN and WHO, all of them to start saving life. Not saving life of evacuating them, but we're talking about 38 million people that who are looking ways to generate money, but now everything has collapsed.